But first, right here, new tonight, more on the scene you saw play out right here last night on the WHAS 11 night team. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. Now, a Metro Council member is calling out the Louisville mayor and Metro Police tonight about the way they handled last night's ICE protesters when they marched through downtown Louisville streets. Republican Metro Council member Crystal Bast, representing Southwest Jefferson County, she posted it on Facebook today, saying the demonstrations last night moved well beyond a peaceful protest because they blocked traffic intersections and broke traffic laws as they moved around. She said she did not want the same destruction of downtown that we saw under former Mayor Greg Fisher's leadership. There was no destruction last night in Louisville. Bast goes on to say, quote, I, along with other council members, have urged the mayor to enforce our laws regarding these types of events. If there is a lack of interest in enforcing Metro's laws and policies, we must immediately reassess their necessity. Republican Metro Council member Anthony Piagentini also echoing her concerns. Well, today, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg was asked about it. He said he felt there was no need to escalate the situation.
Here in Louisville, we are prepared. We hope that everyone continues. All of the announcement we've heard about other protests that are coming about these matters have stressed their focus on peaceful protests and non-violence. There are places where that can occur, and I appreciate the organizers focusing on that, on expressing their First Amendment rights and with their words and going no further than that.
By the way, last night after the protests had ended, WHAS 11 News asked Metro Police if they had had any trouble with the crowd of 200 protesters, and they told us no problems. More local immigration protests, as you heard the mayor say, are planned for Saturday, both in Louisville and in southern Indiana. Also right here, new tonight on the night team, a large Indiana Senate bill that was passed by legislators in Indianapolis and signed by Indiana Governor Mike Braun has Hoosiers trying to understand these sweeping changes. We're talking about Senate Bill number 1. It's a comprehensive property tax reform bill to stop tax increases. That bill freezes and restructures how much local governments can actually raise in their taxes. These provisions make it harder for counties to collect taxes and will impact budgets for nearly every public funded industry. In Floyd County, Indiana, that means recycling is now on the chopping block. WHAS 11 night team's Jose Alonso and photojournalist Emma Gefter tell us how these Hoosiers could lose that important service.
It's as easy as driving up and making a loop to recycle at the Floyd County Solid Waste Department. Floyd Knobs resident Scott Book does this once a week.
My wife and I, we feel it's very important for the recycle. We really like the program since they put it in. I've been very pleased with it, and we're hoping that it doesn't go away.
The department's director, Dave Massengale, has been told there could be some restructuring of county services, which could impact his department that serviced about 56,000 Hoosiers last year alone.
I think our number was 740 tons of total recycling products. And I think this year we're probably on target to hit 900, if not more. We service approximately 35 local businesses, along with schools and government centers. So what is that group going to do? What's the schools going to do with all that recycling that we pick up?
Members of the Floyd County Council spent the evening assessing how Senate Bill 1 will restructure their local tax income. I asked President Danny Short about the fate of the Solid Waste Department.
That'll be mainly up to the commissioners to decide. It is being talked about doing away with solid waste. I think it's a lot of the fear of what this bill was bringing, and we had to look at what services were essential and what services were non-essential. And solid waste falls in the non-essential category.
The council president also told me that selling the Pineview Government Center, where they host their meetings, is also being considered as a way to cut back. This building houses organizations like the Open Door Youth Services, which now either has to purchase the building or relocate. Although recycling is not seen as an essential service in the budget, there's still plenty of Hoosiers who care.
We don't understand, they talk about the budget shortfall and different things like that, but we feel this is a very important, and we're hoping that it doesn't go away.
Floyd County residents' option to recycle is currently in limbo. Jose Alonso, WHAS 11 night team, on your side.
Well, Floyd County Council President there, Danny Short, also says the scale back will leave them with a $600,000 budget this year. And that leaves them and the commissioners to focus on ensuring essential services that focus on health and safety and make sure that they get funding first. Kentucky State Representative Daniel Grossberg of Louisville is refusing to settle a nearly year-long ethics investigation centered around his alleged inappropriate behavior toward women. And that's according to Grossberg's attorney, Thomas Clay of Louisville. The ethics findings obtained by WHAS11 News tonight from a source lay out the settlement, which would include a public reprimand and a $4,000 fine. The Ethics Committee found Grossberg did engage with at least 2 women inappropriately and also drank alcohol inside his Capitol office. The Democratic state lawmaker maintains his interactions with these women have been taken out of context. Clay says the 2 sides are meeting for a preliminary hearing in Frankfurt on June 17th. That meeting is closed to the public. Former U of L basketball star Russ Smith is scheduled to appear in court in Louisville tomorrow on charges of DUI. Arrested over the weekend in the Highlands of Louisville. For the first time, Smith is reacting to that arrest and charge of DUI. It comes as many people are also asking the question, how can he be charged with DUI when he blew below the legal limit into a breathalyzer? WHAS 11's Alexandra Goldberg has the answer to that question.
This intersection is where it all went down for former U of L basketball star Russ Smith early Sunday morning. Baxter Avenue and Highlands Avenue. Pulled over by Metro Police, Smith was driving his Maserati in the Highlands. Police say he made an illegal U-turn and was driving with expired plates. They say Smith also blew a .073 in the breathalyzer. That's below the legal limit of .08. For the first time, he's sharing his side of the story since he was arrested for DUI. Smith posting a tweet with a statement from his attorney, Steve Romines, claiming he did nothing wrong. It says in part, quote, despite the fact that his BAC was below the legal limit and he passed every test, he was nonetheless arrested. Indeed, why even have investigative tests when an officer is allowed to simply ignore them all? Former Judge Dave Holton says the blood alcohol content is only one piece of the puzzle.
That .08, it's a pretty sacred number, but it's not determinative.
While he blew below the legal limit, the citation says Smith failed a field sobriety test, which includes walking in a straight line.
When my wife heard the news over the weekend, she says, how can that be? And my answer to her was, well, there's circumstances surrounding the arrest and other things that the numbers just don't illustrate.
The questions come as another man was arrested for DUI, also blowing under the legal limit. On June 4th, Kentucky State Police arrested off-duty LMPD officer Kenneth Lawrence in Hardin County. He was pulled over for expired plates, but with an odor of alcohol detected by police. Lawrence later blew a .077 into a breathalyzer and was taken to the Hardin County Detention Center. Hal Holton says police can bring about charges based on what they observe, like how they're driving.
Whether it's sporadic or whether it's weaving in and out of traffic or missing lanes, that kind of thing.
Or what police notice after the driver is pulled over.
The aroma from the smell of the alcohol, or whether it be bloodshot eyes or slurred speech.
Or their inability to follow instructions during field sobriety tests.
Well, we will be there tomorrow covering it as Russ Smith is scheduled to be arraigned in court tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. His attorney, by the way, is the high-profile Louisville attorney Steve Romines, as you heard us mention in that report, who also successfully represented pro golfer Scottie Scheffler when he was arrested outside the PGA Championship when it was being held at Valhalla. Well, the Louisville Metro Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission is issuing an emergency suspension order for a popular Germantown bar in Louisville. The order is against 21st and Germantown. That's off Shelby Street. It cites serious violations concerning underage drinking at the bar, overservice of alcohol, and public safety. The bar must now immediately stop all sale and service of alcohol until further notice. Earlier today, we heard from ABC enforcement officers about this major suspension. Well, he's got work to do. That's what the new JCPS superintendent said today when he joined us exclusively at 5:30 tonight for his very first interview since he was hired. I asked Dr. Brian Yearwood tonight about that internal survey that showed most JCPS teachers and those at the community public forums wanted the other guy hired instead. Here's his response.
Superintendency in leadership, there will be those who just don't, are not for you yet. And I think this just tells me that I have work to do. This tells me that I need to reach out and get to know some more people, let them get to understand me and what I stand for, and build that trust. And that's a part of, coming in as a leader. So, the polls just give me an indication that I have work to do.
Yearwood in Louisville now, as he and his family are looking for a home to live in. He signed a 4-year deal and will make $350,000 a year. That's the same salary as the outgoing superintendent, Marty Polio. By the way, he also told us tonight that he has met with Marty Polio, who gave him a lot of helpful advice. Right here, News Tonight, 2 plans recommended to the JCPS School Board this evening would hope to improve on the busing situation within the district. The JCPS School Board hearing from the Administrative Director of Operations tonight about what they need to reach an earlier clearing time for the students getting off the bus. Tyler Sheeran laid out 2 options. First, the district keeps transportation the same and rolls out a new routing software that brings all buses online with GPS software. Sharon also said that this year did see improvements for drop-off times and bus driver satisfaction. This option ensures stability for parents and requires fewer drivers. Option number 2, flip high schools and Ramsey Middle School to a later dismissal time. Sharon said that this matches research that says high schoolers perform better with later start times, but it would require a redo of start times once again.
As parents figure out job situations, childcare, transportation, so on and so forth, the move of an hour is big. 2 hours is huge. We've seen an improvement in chronic absenteeism this year with the improved transportation.
Sharon says right now the school district has 620 school bus drivers. Tonight, a U of L Board of Trustee committee met to discuss how the university will comply with federal DEI laws. Again, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. The committee discussed DEI language that they must change before the end of June. Now, some members speaking tonight, like U of L's chief lawyer, Angela Curry, and board member Sadiqa Reynolds, want to be cautious.
We are in unprecedented times, and I respect the committee, and I think we are. But I know that the committee is not made up of everyone, and there are a lot of people who are being impacted by this. And I'm just asking us to think about what we are doing as we're doing it.
We are a state entity, we're a state agency and a state institution. So compliance with state law is something that has implications far beyond any one particular statute or guideline.
Sadiqa Reynolds went on to argue that the university should strive for minimal compliance. And if they aren't in complete compliance, there is a 180-day window in which they can fix the language of their bylaws and official documentation. The board at U of L will meet Thursday to consider the changes needed to be in compliance.